Alright, today I'm going to show you how to make a really easy sticky toffee pudding that tastes absolutely amazing. So let's get straight into it. We're going to start off by making the sponge part of this dessert first. So the first job is to chop up all your dates into a fairly small size. And now place them into a bowl and pour over your hot water. Now place this mixture into a saucepan and boil over a medium flame for about 5 minutes, or until soft. Okay, next job, you're going to take your walnuts and you'll chop them up. Don't do them too small, you want to be able to notice that they are in the dessert. Okay, now we need to make your basic batter, and to do that we're going to add butter and sugar to a small bowl, and then we're going to use an electric whisk and just cream this together until light and fluffy. And add your vanilla extract. And eggs one at a time, making sure you whisk in between. Make sure before adding your next egg your batter is smooth again. So go ahead and add your second egg and whisk again until smooth. Next up, you're going to sieve your flour and baking powder together into your batter. And you can add in your chopped walnuts now. And now just mix this together until it's all incorporated. And now my dates have been boiling for 5 minutes, so go and get them and add in your sodium bicarbonate and give that a quick mix. And pour all of this straight into your batter and mix well immediately. And that's our batter done, so you can now pour that into a baking paper lined tray and place in the oven at 180 degrees or 375 degrees Fahrenheit for about 25 minutes. After 25 minutes, remove your sponge from the oven and just check it with a skewer, make sure it comes out clean when inserted, and then we can begin making the toffee sauce. So to do that, you're going to place in your sugar and a little bit of water, just enough to wet the sugar really here, and place that on a medium heat until you form a caramel. It should be a deep amber colour. Then make sure not to stir this at all whilst it's cooking down, otherwise it may crystallise. You can, however, just gently swirl the pan around. So whilst you're making your caramel, you want to pierce a lot of holes all the way around your sponge. This is going to allow the hot toffee sauce to penetrate into the cake. And here's what your caramel should look like when it's done. So once it gets to this colour, take it off the heat and make sure you have your butter and cream ready, as this will carry on darkening if you don't get something in there to cool it down. So start by putting your butter in, a teaspoon at a time. And gently swirl the pan around until all that butter is melted into the sauce. And now pour in your cream. And mix it through well. And that's our toffee sauce done, so you can now go and pour that onto the cake. Try to make sure you don't pour so much on that it spills over the edge. And once you've covered your sponge in the sauce, you can leave that to one side to cool slightly and the sauce will thicken. So next up we're just going to make a little garnish using some more caramel, so take that again to a dark amber colour. And then all I've got here is some half walnuts on a little cocktail stick or toothpick, and dip them in, and then you want to glue tack them or tape them up somewhere high and allow the excess caramel to fall off. And eventually as the caramel cools it will start to thicken and leave long strands hanging down from the nut. Make sure you put something underneath these to catch the falling caramel. Okay, next up we're just going to cut a portion of our sticky toffee pudding and put it onto a hot plate, and we'll leave it somewhere hot until we're ready to plate up. So first run your knife around the edges of the sticky toffee pudding that don't have baking paper there, and then you can use the baking paper to just lift the whole thing out. Now all I'm doing here is just heating up my knife with a little mini blowtorch and then cutting off the edges. The reason for heating this up is because it will cut through the toffee nice and smooth rather than dragging it down through into the sponge. You can also leave this to go completely cold, cut it into portions and then reheat it in the microwave for 10 to 15 seconds per portion whenever you need it. So anyway, take one portion and place into a hot plate, and all the rough edges that we cut off to get a nice looking portion we're going to keep, because we're going to turn them into some sticky toffee truffles. Okay, so there isn't really a lot to this, so the first thing we're going to do is just get your hands in there and squash all of it together, and then you'll find that it'll roll nicely into little balls, and you're going to place them onto a baking paper lined tray. And we're just going to cover these in some white chocolate, and then you can see I've got a cornet here which I'm just going to do a little dark chocolate run out over the top. Okay, so they're done. I'm just going to put them in the freezer to set for 10 minutes. So the next thing we're going to do is some quick caramelised bananas. So to do that, take some slices of banana and just dip them in sugar. I'm using icing or powdered sugar here, but you can use any sugar you like. So place plenty of sugar on them and then just run your blowtorch over them. And now that's done, we've got all our elements ready, so we can start plating up.